Hey guys, Pro1701, and today we are going to look at the 12th Doctor's top 5 most underrated stories in my opinion. Stories that aren't necessarily bad, I just feel like they don't give the attention they deserve. They're not even necessarily super fantastic, but they don't get the attention they deserve. Let's put it that way. Excuse me. Number 5 on the list is Time Heist. I really like Time Heist. It's a lot of fun. It's basically like Ocean's 11 meets Doctor Who. And I have a ball with it. I like the Ocean's 11 movies. You know, I think they're clever in some ways, but a lot of fun in others. And this one's kind of the same. I like the whole amnesia bit with the worm, with them not exactly knowing why they're doing what they're doing, or who sent them to do what they're doing, but I really enjoy it. I like the little creature that pries people's brains I could do without, but it's kind of important to the plot, so it's fine. The Peter Capaldi is great in it, like he usually is, and I really like the fact he's the one who figures everything out and saves the day. It's not Clara. Clara's tolerable in this one because she's not the one being Clara Who, because I hate Clara Who. It really is the Doctor kind of doing what the Doctor does best, figuring everything out and saving the day, really. And I really like it when he figures out who sent them on it. I like that. That in itself I really like, when you find out the person responsible for starting them on the caper. I like the scene when he leaves the business card. You might decide to look me up one day. Here's my card. Give me a call. I love that. I love the fact he figured it all out. That's fantastic. Time Heist is just a lot of fun. I really enjoy it. Next on the list is the Robots of Sherwood. I really like this one. I did not appreciate this one as much on first viewing. I thought it was more filler. But I really enjoy it. Again, Clara's not really bothersome here. I like how she's playing referee with Robin Hood and Peter Capaldi. I really enjoy that a lot. She's really good at refereeing right there, actually. I like the chemistry between Peter Capaldi and the guy playing Robin Hood. It's really funny. I like that this is a Series 8 episode. So we have, very grumpy Peter Capaldi. Series 8 Capaldi, grumpy, dark, moody. Don't know if he's a good guy or not. And he spends so much of this episode acting so childish and so... I can't think of the word I'm looking for. He's very childish in it. Very, very childish. Like with him competing with Robin Hood, it's almost like it's an ego thing, which I really like. Like a petulant child. There we go. Petulant child. I like that. I love the bit with the spoon. He's like, I'm the Doctor and this is my spoon. And he fights with the spoon and still manages to win, but he's so arrogant about it, Robin's able to reach up and pull him into the water too. I like when they're having the archery contest, and at one point Peter gets so annoyed he just turns around with the screwdriver and blows the target. Oh, and it doesn't even matter! Just presses the button and blows the whole target up. And then when they're chained up in the room and they're sitting there basically having their who's is bigger contest. Well, you're an old man. Oh, really? We'll see who lives longer. You'll find I have a genetic advantage. I love that. It is a lot of fun. I like the one woman we see a lot in it. I like when we find out who she actually is at the end. That was really neat because I didn't see that coming. But it's mostly watching grumpy, dark Peter Capaldi being so childish in this episode that really puts it up there for me. Next on the list is Deep Breath. I like Deep Breath a lot. I forget exactly where I put it when I was ranking my post-regeneration stories. Deep Breath has a lot of good and a lot of bad in it, and I'm going to focus on the main points of both. One, the lot of good is, again, Peter Capaldi is so good in this episode. I love the opening bit when he's still in Matt's outfit and he's not quite there, and he's mixing people up, and he's calling Strax by all the 7 dwarf names. That's funny. I like anytime he's talking to the T-Rex. That's hilarious. It's like, oh, that's all right. That's how I usually meet women. I love that. I will keep you safe. I will keep you safe. It's absolutely. And when he first wakes up and he starts to go out the door and he's like, not me. And you see him look out the window. Me. I love all of that. That's so humorous. I like the design of the kind of TikTok creatures, the same ones from Madame de Pompadour. I like how they're done differently because they have evolved. They've been on Earth so long they've had to makeshift repair themselves. They look really, really creepy, really well done. Really fits that old saying about the bit about the broom, replacing the brooms is still the same broom. Or if you want to talk about the parable about the ship, where if you slowly replace one part of a ship and with another part, with other parts, is it still the same ship? And then if you take the old parts of the ship and put them back together, you have two of the exact same ship. How does that? I really like that. I don't really care about is he a good man? Did he push him or did he jump? You know, that little mystery of whether the doctor's good and whether he pushed the robot guy jumped, that doesn't really land with me. Don't really care for that. Don't really do dark doctors very much, unless it's something like McCoy or Eccleston that worked really well. But what they're going for with Capaldi here never really worked. I much prefer Series 10 Capaldi to Series 8 Capaldi, as much as his actual acting is always really good. Capaldi is great acting as the Doctor. Clara is the issue with this episode. Because Clara doesn't make sense in this episode. Clara, more though than any companion, seems to have trouble adjusting to him regenerating, not wanting to travel with him anymore, not wanting, saying, I don't know who you are, when it doesn't make any sense for that, because Clara is the impossible girl. She's seen all of these other incarnations. She's literally visited and seen every incarnation he's ever had up to this point. So more so than any companion ever, she should be accepting of him regenerating, accepting of him changing, because she's met all these other versions of him before. So there's no reason for her, more so than any companion, to have this problem. And it seems like the only reason she has this problem is because they want to cram Matt's cameo into the plot. They want to make it work. They want to have his cameo of convincing her to stick with him and, hey, help him. He needs you right now. Making her change her mind so she'll give 12 a chance. It's all crammed in there just for that. Don't get me wrong, I love Matt's cameo. I think that's a clever idea. I think it's done really well. Kind of surprised nobody ever thought of it before. And with any other companion, I think it would work beautifully. It doesn't work with Clara because Clara has already seen all these other versions of him. Clara's the one companion I can't understand why she's having such a hard time adjusting to a new Doctor. She should be able to adjust easier than anybody. And it seems like it's there just so we can have that little Matt Smith moment, which is beautiful in and of itself, but doesn't make any sense to the story. So that's my main issue with Deep Breath. So it has some good going on in it, it has some bad going on in it. Number 2 on the list is Thin Ice. I love Thin Ice a lot. I don't think Thin Ice is regarded as a bad episode, but it's probably my second favorite Capaldi episode after Heaven Sent. I really love Thin Ice. And I have a feeling most people don't think that highly of it, but I love it. I love the chemistry between Bill and Capaldi. I love the scene when Capaldi's sitting there like, all right, we're going to be very diplomatic, when he ends up just hitting the guy in the face. Just like, pop! Very diplomatic. That's funny. I really like where Bill starts to pick up just kind of who the Doctor is here. One thing I like is we actually see that one kid die. That's pretty cool. I mean, you don't really see kids die a lot, and it's kind of off screen, but we know he dies. I mean, we see him running with a screwdriver, and next thing you just see his hand out of the ice, and then you see the hand get pulled through the, that kid got ate. Don't get me wrong, the kid's a little shit. He kind of had it coming, but but man, I remember when the first time I watched it, I was like, wow, they just did that. Cool. I like when Doctor Who kind of does little dark things like that most television won't do. That's pretty neat. So I did get a kick out of that moment. I'm like, man, anybody could get it in this episode. I like the fact that they're walking on the river. That's pretty cool. They're doing that little parade thing, whatever it is they do, where they can actually walk on the ice in the river. That's pretty neat. Doctor Who does really good in the modern series with their historicals, with costumes and stuff, looking so good. I really like when they're talking to Bill, and Bill's like, have you ever seen anyone die? And he's like, have you ever killed anyone? He's kind of like, she's like, how can you be so calm and, not really care about it, whatever it is she says. And he's like, because if I don't, more people die. He brings out that if he takes time, if he doesn't get over it, more people die. He's got to focus on the living. I really like that whole scene between them. It's really, really good. It's a really good episode. If you haven't watched it in a while, I recommend going back and watching it again with some fresh eyes. It's probably my second favorite Capaldi episode after Heaven Sent. Really good. And number 1 on the list is Twice Upon a Time. I actually really enjoy Twice Upon a Time. I have some issues with the First Doctor, with the way the First Doctor's written, that I've discussed before, that I know a lot of other people also have, that the First Doctor is not portrayed exactly as a lot of us would have liked. But the story I really like. I like the fact that Capaldi's final story is not some big, massive, bad guy, villain, save the universe kind of thing, like it is so much in the modern series, and some, to be fair, sometimes in the classic series as well. I like that line where he's like, "It's not an evil plan. Well, I don't know what to do if it's not an evil plan." It's a very self-aware comment that I really like. I really do like that it's just the fact he didn't want to regenerate, and the First Doctor not wanting to regenerate caused the time flux that accidentally spun the Lethbridge Stewart captain there. Archibald Hamish Lethbridge Stewart, that accidentally put him there. And so it was just an accident they caused that they kind of had to just put right real quick. And finding out that there was no malintent behind everything, it's pretty neat. I think it's nice. I think Capaldi is great in it. David Bradley's good at playing the First Doctor, even if First Doctor's not written perfectly well. It's a fun little romp. I like the way they brought Bill back here. They didn't have to do that, but it's done in a better way than they tend to bring companions back, like Clara. It actually makes sense since it's not technically Bill, it's just her memories in this glass figure. It's a clever way to do it without it being eye-rolling, so I'm actually fine with it here. I think Capaldi's regeneration's a little self-indulgent, like modern Who regenerations tend to be. I love the fact, my favorite scene is when the First Doctor regenerates. I think that's done really well, and very as a nod to classic Who. There's not a lot of build-up, you know. We have some really cool music, you know, kind of redone from End of Time. I love that theme, especially this version of it that's right here. You know, the First Doctor walks into the TARDIS. He says just a few lines, a very few, and then it transitions to the old footage. It's done very quick, very classic Who-like, which is the way I like it. You know, and then we get 12's regeneration that I'm sitting there. All right, are you going to die or not? Because I'm beginning to think you can do another speech for about another 10 years. So it's a good speech, it's just overly long. I much prefer the regeneration from the First to Second Doctor in this one. I do love the way they transition from the new footage into the old footage, just like I love at the beginning of the episode how it does start off with footage from the 10th planet. I love how they did that, and how it transitions into the new footage to show the two Doctors meeting from the First Doctor's point of view. It's really, really nice. I think it's a good episode. I really enjoy it. I think it's underrated. I know some people don't like it. They kind of wish Capaldi's last story had been Dr. Falls, but I disagree. I think it's a fun last little romp, and I would love to see an extended version of it when we could actually see all the stuff Moffat wanted to put in there. I think that really would straighten some things out better. So anyway, that's my thoughts on my top 5 underrated Peter Capaldi stories. What do you think? Do you agree? Do you disagree? Do you think some of these are underrated? Do you think some of these are not underrated and the fandom has them about right, or some of these you just can't stand at all? Comment down below. I always enjoy interacting with you guys and finding out what you guys think. One of the points of these videos is to start discussion. I always love reading the comments and seeing how people agree and disagree with me. That's pretty neat. Other things to do: click the like button, click the subscribe button, click the bell for notifications. I have started a Patreon page if you would like to contribute to that. You can find a link to that down below as well. But most importantly, stay safe out there, and thank you for watching.